But where should I look? Here, right?
Here and here.
Yeah.
And then you comments கொடுப்பீங்க இங்க பேசுங்க.
Okay. Wow. When live or no? So how will I go? So how will I go live? You're live? Sorry, just 1 minute before I start. Nice. So you can hear me now? Yeah? All good? Okay, so hi buddy. So either there are no launches or there are so many back to, when I say no launches, I'm referring to the launches I'm not interested in. Of course there are a lot of launches every day. There are about 100 launches, or there are a few very interesting launches, right? So of course Oasis by EMA. Now why I put now all of a sudden Dubai versus Abu Dhabi is audio isn't clear, guys. Audio isn't clear. Audio is clear. Okay. Why I put Dubai versus Abu Dhabi is there's this Bashayer villa launch tomorrow, so I don't know what to think about it completely. Our company has aggressively sold a lot of properties in Bashayer, in Hudayriyat Island, and the idea was, okay, it's right next to the Abu Dhabi city, so I've divided. Now, why is it important to door? Can you close it? Close it. Yeah. So why is it important now to study every project? The audio is muffled. No? Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so why is it important to study every project quite intricately? Is because yes, there is an oversupply. The demand will match the supply, but at some point, right, at this end of 26, there's a certain phase in 27, a certain phase in 28, where I hope the audio is clear now. Okay, so where there will be supply that will take some time to absorb. So we are trying to invest. Every product we'll have to think of end to end. When I say end to end means, okay, let's take Oasis as an example. Okay, so a 4-bed, again I'm giving estimated prices, they're not officially released. So let's say that Oasis 4-bed is around 12 million, a 5-bed is around 15 million, and so on. Let's take an example of a 5-bed. Now a 5-bed, if I buy it for 15 million and I'm an investor and my objective is audio is muffled. Maybe you should switch off one of them. Maybe too many mics.
It's not related.
No, not related. Not related.
No.
It's fine. Okay. Guys, I'm sorry, man. This is the best. we tried. Okay. So where was I? So okay. So I'm talking about we need to think end to end, right? So I'm an investor. I bought a house at 15 million dirhams, and I want to sell it. I want to sell it at around 25 million dirhams. Okay. Now we have a buyer coming from different areas. We need to understand the buyer demographic. So why am I going to Bashayer tomorrow? Is to understand, okay, what is the buyer demographic? Now, for example, Four Seasons in Alda was a very interesting launch, right? Because the prices were close to what, 14,000 dirham per square foot. So I asked, what is the buyer demographic? So they were like Kazakhstan, the top five. One of them was Kazakhstan, there was Russia, and so on. So understanding, so for example, typically if you look at an Oasis, an EMA launch, you'll find that buyer demographic, there'll be locals, Indians, Pakistanis, UK, Netherlands, every area has a different buyer demographic. Normally, okay. So, guys, I'm sorry about the audio. You know, I'll fix it next time. Maybe I'll change the laptop. You know, we've got a lot of gear here, but there's a lot of valid information. Okay, let's listen. Bad audio, but good information, guys. Okay, so this is really good information. So, understanding end to end. So I have a product, Oasis. I'm talking about a case study of a 5-bed. Now a 5-bed is worth 15 million. I'm an investor. I want at some point to sell it at 25 million. Okay. So 25 million, we're looking at what, an 8,000 square foot built up, 10,000 square foot plot. Again, nothing is released. I'm giving an example on how to think about the investment. At 25 million, a buyer, he will go to Jumeirah Golf Estates. He will go to Al Barari. He will go to Dubai Hills. Dubai Hills, it's tough to get something at 25 million. This buyer, or else he'll go to Acres, right? He will go to Shoba Reserve. Do you understand? So that buyer is going to go around, right? Because why? Okay, who's my typical buyer for a house? It's a husband, wife, 2 kids. They will look for top schools. So where are the top schools? You have the GEMS AI, most expensive school in Dubai. It's on Hessa, right? Where you pay around 200,000 dirhams for a child. Who's the major client base for that? Okay, now, I'm giving you ideas on how to think before getting into a product investment. So, who is the target clientele of that school as of now? People who live in Tilal Al Gaf, people who live in Dubai Hills. They're the audience, right? Their kids are going to the school as of now, right? There are a few from Arabian ranches. Why? Because all my clients a lot of my clients who live in Tilal Al Gaf, the kids go to this school. So it's either they go to this school. Those are the international audience. The British families who live in Tilal Al Gaf send their children to Royal Grammar School. Okay, so this particular street has all. You've got your Kings, you have your Royal Grammar School, Dubai British School, Harrows is coming, Nord Anglia. Some of the best schools are right here, right? So you have that audience. So schools are sorted. It's right there in that entire section. If you look at it, Emaar is going to be one of those most exclusive spots. So okay, so Nal Shiba Gardens, okay, I'll come back to Oasis. I'll just quickly answer these questions, okay? So Nal Shiba Gardens, I think phase 7, see, location is prime. Now tomorrow, one of my investors asked me to go for this launch. I normally don't go for launches. I personally, I don't prefer going to launches. I feel launches are just like 3,000 to 10,000 agents in one event. I get claustrophobic, so I don't go for launch events. One of my clients from Indonesia particularly asked me, Zohaib, I want you to really visit this place. I think Hudairat is a bit far off. So he already invested in Oasis, and he's like, I want to go on ground and study the project. If you go on ground and go to Nal Shiba Gardens and observe, right? Because at the end of the day, where do people invest? Where they feel nice, right? Why is Dubai Hills very successful? You go there, it's like, wow, it feels nice. Any other community you guys can suggest? Palm has its own energy, its own vibe. So that feel, JVC, the prices have started dipping. It's always on discussion. Why? Because that energy, the vibe is. So Nal Shiba Gardens, when I go, I feel like it's a bit confusing. There's too many houses again right next to each other. It doesn't give me that feeling of, okay, the prices can, some products in a funny way may not increase as of now, but with time they could. Like for example, Shobha Reserve, Shobha Elwood. I feel like as of now it's not increasing, but on handover these will gain more value, because again, Nadal Shiba, okay, again think the same perspective. A 3-bed is going for 5.5 million, around 5.5 million, right? And it's on handover. A client wants to sell it at what, 8-9 million. Now a person with a budget of 8 to 9 million, he can go to okay, District 1 doesn't have options. Next he goes to Nal Shiva Gardens. Next there's Opal Gardens, again a hidden, nobody talks about Opal Gardens anymore. Again, phenomenal product. I think Opal Gardens for me has a little more advantage to Nal Shiva. Sometimes the most marketed product has its own disadvantages, right? Next you have District 11. I know District 11 I'm not a big fan, even though there are big names, but maybe there are certain products we could work with, but again, the small clusters, too many houses right next to each other. Behind that, before District 11 you have H&H coming up with Eden Hills. So that could be interesting, but the price point will be high. So again, 8 to 10 million, don't have that. After that comes your Elwood, and then this Valley. Now this is big news. I don't know if you guys saw the news where all landfills will be removed by 2027. So every single investor of mine, or who did not listen to me about Valley, who showed me images and videos of that landfill, who's laughing now? So because it's, for a fact, if a big player like EMA's coming on the field, there's no ways that landfill is going to stay by 2027. This official in Gulf news. This news has come. All landfills will be removed by 20. I have that news report. I'll share it with. One of my investors sent me this. Who invested in farm gardens? I forced him to. So about Nal Shiva Gardens, I feel like people initially invested. Yes, good job done. Now maybe, based on your objective, you should keep studying the other products down the lane, do a little more extensive study on Opal, on Elwood, on Valley, and then if you take towards the right, again you've got interesting products like Haven. Somebody mentioned over here Haven, Villanova Phase 2, no, I wouldn't say that. There's no comparison with Nal Shiva Gardens and that. Then after that, maybe Athlon, no, I wouldn't compare Athlon and Nal Shiva Gardens. Then you've got Acres, so Acres, you have a lot of deals on OP. So, I think Acres OP would go on a higher value than this, and then you've got Opal Gardens. So, this is how we should compare. What is your perspective on Alda moving to Dubai, Athlon, Haven? Do you think the projects will be a success? Mike, Alda is probably the most cash-rich developer. I don't think any house will take a very big hit. I'll tell you what my only concern with Alda, not concern, is that some of the villas for example, Wilds was a fantastic location, right? But some of the villas did not have this en-suite bathrooms. Now, it may seem small, but in functionality, it plays a big role. Then in Athlon, there were some villas with this floor plan where they had sections. There was dining room, majlis, living area, closed sections. Nowadays, people want what you enter, maybe a small passage, but they want that opulence. They want the open designs, double height ceiling, they want light, they want glass everywhere, like there should be a lot of light and minimalist designs, right? And in that living room, the floor to ceiling height was 2.7 meters. So it was a bit of a closed space. They had the double height ceiling towards the dining area, but these sections, living area, majlis, Now you can tell me you can break everything apart, but some of them had columns. So even I looked into that aspect because the price made a lot of sense. I like the idea of them having this premium section. And another thing I did not like are the residential buildings coming in villa communities, depending on the distance. So the houses that it's close by to, that will be another concern. But in Athlone, the residential buildings weren't the concern. The concern was this floor plan, the sections that immediately cuts off a huge audience, right? The entire West is cut off almost immediately. You're limited to the Middle Eastern, Asian audience almost immediately. So, so these are aspects that you should be thinking about. What do you think about Greenside project in Dubai Hills? It takes less than a year to get ready. It has not gone up in price much, but what about when it gets ready and the rent? Parham, Dubai Hills, we can take a break now. I think it's done its job. You know, it served really hard. It was a phenomenal soldier. Gave all it had. I think it's time for it to rest. You know, there are areas in Dubai. You see, this is why, you know, now we should study the south, but not the south that you guys have been thinking about. I'm thinking of the south, like Palm, Jebel Ali till Al Jorf. You know, that's like kind of like an interesting south that we can look at. Few products here and there in Dubai. You know, there are some soldiers that we should give a break to. Oasis, are Palmyra deals at 1,100 to 1,000 better, or the new launch at 1,700? Giovanni, that's a trick question, isn't it? Of course, if you can get a Palmyra at 1,100, 1,200, if your cash flow permits it, paying 50% upfront, go for it 100%. OP deals are available in acres. It's just, I personally think that the deals, because I've been studying these deals, right? So there are some OP deals available in Palmyra and some OP deals available in Mirage, but they weren't the ideal locations. None on the water are selling at OP. There's another big issue, right? The biggest criminal over here are the fake listings, which creates a wrong impression of the market. A lot of OP deals in Palm Jebel Ali, those were legit deals. So I keep checking OP deals. Because I have some investors who only pick up OP deals, so I have to keep checking up for them. So some of the areas that I constantly check are Oasis, Palm Jebel Ali. I check in acres, and then I check in tier 2, like areas like Furjan, near the metro stations. You know, if I can get a good deal here and there. But in Palmyra, the OP deals. Now I don't think there are any available. If there are, please do let me know. I'll be very interested. Because I see clients with a decent location selling it at a profit, at a premium. If it were at 1,100, 1,200 PSF, no brainer, go for it. Oh, it is for the Oasis. Sorry, we're back to the Oasis. Sorry, I'm going to talk about the Oasis now. So let me start. So we're talking about perspective, right? We need to think end to end. Okay, do you think Gaf Woods would reach similar heights in success compared to Tilal Al Gaf? Do you have any reservations on this investment? There's no comparison between Gaf Woods and Tilal Al Gaf. Tilal Al Gaf, again, location really nailed it, and developer made a brilliant product. Gaf Woods is a unique product into the market, but at the end of the day, these are apartment buildings in Dubai land, you know, so it's a different audience. I think the biggest competition to Gaf Woods would not be Tilal Al Gaf. The comparison would be to locations like Maritime City, RYM, Dubai Islands, because it's apartment versus apartment. So where would you prefer to live? On the coastline or middle of nowhere? People go to middle of nowhere when you have kids and you've got to go to schools, and that's when you're ready to live on the outskirts, the suburban life. If you're living in an apartment, you pretty much want to live the city life. Jumeirah Garden City, Furjan. Okay, so about the Oasis. Let's stick to the Oasis for some time. Okay, 15 minutes. Let's stick to the Oasis. So I've told, in today's market, there are too many products hitting the market. we are reaching a point where, yes, there will be a correction. 15, I think, all the way up to 35%. Some of the products are ridiculously priced. Then just 5 minutes, okay, people have come here for Oasis. I need to just completely some portion of Oasis. So yes, I was saying that there is a correction going to happen. Okay, because some of the products do not make sense. There are some developers just riding the wave, without any ethical values. And there are a lot of people from all over around the world who are coming to Dubai for the first time, especially people from the UK, Europe, who are hungry, aggressive. TikTok hasn't helped either, so there from 21, 22, there is this TikTok generation who comes, they make funny videos and dance videos, and they talk about real estate, and somehow it works with some clients. And all these people have been selling certain products at the wrong price without thinking it through, you need to complete cycles in real estate, at least 3 to 4 year cycles. I've completed almost 2 to 3 cycles in real estate, and hence now I have that long-term mindset, right? Because these products, everyone does mistakes. When you start with real estate, everyone does mistakes, because you would just try and sell a product, right, thinking it's fine, you'll get more clients. But as and when you grow, you mature in real estate, you realize that, hey, what, if you want to retain clients and then work on building that network, you need to sell the right product. But the TikTok generation will take some time to understand this. So coming to my point, there are a lot of products that came onto the market that just is ridiculously priced. The price per square foot has no relationship with the old prices. Now, in some areas, it can still somehow be justified thanks to the crowd. Like some areas like Jeddah, somebody mentioned, Maidan, Silicon Oasis, So there are some areas that can be justified, some areas cannot. But again, depending on what price you enter, what is your end goal, what is your objective. And hence, we have to look into opportunities between Dubai and Abu Dhabi, right? Now, Oasis is one of those products where you need to understand Emar's mindset. Where, let's start with the Emirates Living District. So what happened in the Emirates Living District? Let's use Emirates Living and Dubai Hills as case studies, okay? So what happened in the Emirates Living District? They made Emirates Hills, which is like the Beverly Hills of Dubai, and they made these really high-end villas. So today, all these developers, right? All these celebrities, all these Bollywood celebrities, they may talk about every single project, but where do they hang out? Where do they live? It's probably in Emirates Hills or in Palm Jumeirah, right? Or Jumeirah Bay Island. But these are the 3 areas where the billionaires are going to live as of now. So that was Emirates Hills, right? The Beverly Hills, the original Beverly Hills, the original billionaires used to live. Then you had the Meadows, which were the independent villas. Again, a beautiful community. And the third was Springs, which were townhouses, but in a very prime location. Now, what is most important about these communities are that they are resilient. These are resilient products. Means even during a phase of COVID, these products did not budge in value. Why? Because these products, the demographic, right, are end users. So 80% of these communities are end users, and they have a certain profile. So a COVID is not going to impact them. Who gets impacted by COVID? Or let's say a market downturn, who gets impacted? I'm not saying entrepreneurs don't, but there's a certain crowd that gets impacted. We need to first identify who's the audience that gets impacted. This audience clearly was not impacted. They were very resilient. Now, how do you create that model, right? So Emar does this, right? They'll have this extremely high-end section, they'll have a middle end, they'll have the so they have the ultra luxury, luxury, mid-tier luxury, right? They'll have couple of different products. Same thing they did with Dubai Hills. Okay, in Dubai Hills, you had, again, you can divide Dubai into two halves. One half has the clubhouse, the schools, and the ultra, like you've got the Hills Grove and the Emerald Hills, extremely high-end villas. The values went up to 250, 300 million. Then you have the other section, your Sidra, your Maple. The only difference between Emirates Hills and Dubai Hills were that in Emirates Living District, the apartment buildings were a complete different cluster, right? Where you now have the Vida, the Hills, right? A complete different cluster. Dubai Hills, and again, even the commercial was JLT. It was not inside. Dubai Hills, they tried to take it to the next level where, okay, you know, there's this really nice mall, this commercial district, residential buildings. I felt like till a certain extent it was fantastic. Around the park, a few buildings, great. Then when they started selling more aggressively, that's where the balance, you know, started getting impacted. So now Dubai Hills, okay, if people, I hope everyone watching this has been to Dubai Hills, but Dubai Hills has a land parcel of close to 10.5 million square meters. Oasis is a land parcel of 9.5 million square meters, and this has close to 33,000 plus, and counting, right? It's keeping on going. And on the other end you have Oasis that has only 3,100 houses. So if you study the track record, whether it's Emirates, so this principle that I've explained for Emirates Living District, for Dubai Hills, for Arabian Ranches 1, again they had the same sort of system. Dubai, this time Oasis, the Imaras played a little differently. For the first time they're coming up with a lagoon community, and that's not a joke, that's not by coincidence. Imaras really studied, so they've made those divisions to create those currents that is not stagnant. Now if you walk around Emirates Hills, you'll find a little pungent smell, you know, so this time they were made sure that, okay, there's no pungent smell. If I just compare product to product, right, if I compare a 6,000 square foot built up to 8,000 square foot plot, I take this product and I walk into different Imar communities, whether I go to Emirates Living District, I go to Dubai Hills, I go to Arabian Ranches, my investment is secure and is resilient. And that is why I choose to talk about this product. But yes, question remains about what are we comparing it with. Okay, let's say an investor is invested into Oasis, what else is there in the market? And then of course there's a product that's around 12 million, so what happens to the rest of the investors? Where can we invest, right? So that's where we're at, and that's where we're trying to study the Abu Dhabi coastline. We'll get to some questions now. What do you think about Al Jadaf compared to Creek Harbor, especially when Kempinski residences that recently got ready? You know, Zen, I think Jadaf, I've always spoken about Jadaf. I think Jadaf is like Jumeirah Garden City. So Jumeirah Garden City was earlier known as Satwa, right? So Satwa was local, then few plots released which are freehold, and I think it's a brilliant location. It's 6 minutes from Emirates Metro, and it's probably 10 minutes away from J1 Beach. People haven't realized the value of Jumeirah Garden City enough. Same thing, and you can invest around 2,000 dirham per square foot, and same situation is with Jadaf. I think it's a fantastic location. It's all about price per square foot. Now this is another aspect where, you know, Dubai Creek Harbor is not performing as well as expected. There was a phase. So what is Dubai Creek Harbor? Dubai Creek Harbor is an island. There's a little beach section, and you have the entire downtown area. So now the products that are being released, so even when the island released, right, I used to tell my investors to invest on the peripheral, right? And when the beach section released, I said, okay, only on the edge, nothing else. So for a very long time, I've not spoken about Dubai Creek Harbour, even though I love the location. I think it's a brilliant location, and I think I keep investing around Dubai Creek Harbour now, whether it's the Maidan section that's facing the Creek Tower, District 11, Jadda from the other side. I talk about Dubai Design District, but the prices have gone a little peak, so I'm not sure how it will perform. So the next opportunity will be those projects around the Creek Tower. It'll come 100%. I think Emaar is going to go full force next year. Then we are no problem, Mike. That's the idea. Thank you so much for your support. How about Palmyra's lagoon facing 4 beds, small plot size, resale 14 million versus new launching 4 beds, no lagoon facing, more bigger plot as 14. Okay, this is a brilliant question. This is a brilliant question. I want everyone to focus on this question. Now, this is a strategy I deploy, and I'm surprised I'm releasing it over here on. So when a product like Oasis launches, right? So first of all, it's launched in different phases. Everything on Emaar comes on an app, right? It's very hard to beat that system. It's not like the other developers. Emaar is extremely organized. Now the game is getting to know. First, you need to really study the master plan, okay, really well. Okay, you need to know which units you're hitting. And so when the products come onto the app, okay, that's all I'll say. Let's say that I know which products are coming onto the app. If a lagoon facing unit is at well, let's compare this 4-bed and 4-bed. This is the exact same scenario, right? A lagoon facing unit is going to be at, let's say, 14.5 million, and I have maybe something on a pocket park on a much higher, at a lower price, around 12.5 million, but a bigger plot. I would actually choose the lower price unit with a bigger plot, because again, how I started the video, where I told, think of your consumer. So for Oasis, who am I going to sell it to? I'm going to sell it to, let's say my ideal buyer would be Indian, can be British, can be Pakistani, or can be Indian or Pakistani from the US or UK or Australia. This is my ideal clientele, okay? When they come into Oasis, they'll be looking for a deal, they'll be looking for the best price, they'll be looking for a big plot. So they'll go to the lagoon, they'll see the bigger plot, and somehow people, end users, are more, I mean, of course there are a lot of people who are inclined towards lagoon, I agree, the mansion guys, maybe they're inclined to the lagoon, but see, if you study the master plan, you're a bit deeper, right? The 4 beds or 5 beds normally get like this thin phase of the lagoon, and which is probably like 10-15 meters, and then the 6-bed mansions get the 35 to 40 meters. Now 30 to 40 meters is gorgeous. So when a person comes, so visualizing is so key as a consultant to exactly understand what the product is. I need to step into the shoes of the consumer. So I'm stepping into the shoes, I go, I'm in the house right now, I'm looking at the house, so I visualize, so I've got brilliant architects in-house, right? So we make these 3D designs. So I'm in the house, I'm looking at a bigger plot, I'm in the house, I'm looking at a smaller plot. Big plot always wins. Big plot wins for an end user. They want that because they want their kids to run around, they'll probably build a pool, spending a lot of money. So big plot. Dean, your thoughts on Hudayrat Island? Dean, so I've been doing a lot of extensive studies. It's very tiring driving all the way. So driving till Jorf was fun. Driving till Yas Island is probably my limits. It's like in Dubai, driving till Expo is fun. Driving till Emaar South is not fun, So driving till Hudayrat, it was really far away. But when I eventually reached Hudayrat, it was so beautiful, and that's when I realized, we're dealing with 2 different mindsets, right? The Abu Dhabi mindset and the Dubai mindset is completely different. Abu Dhabi is building these museums. There's Louvre, there's Guggenheim, they're coming up Disney World. You've got some of the biggest financial beasts coming, right? BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, Brookfield. So it's a complete different market. Right now, the statistics or the numbers are not exactly supporting. Like, I feel like it's still a gamble, but then this is the gamble that Dubai was in around 2016. So that's how I'm looking at it as of now. Tomorrow I am going for the launch, the Bashayer launch, and I want to feel it more because my investors rely on me completely. They're like, Zohaib, you take the call. I've been ready to invest, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just study a bit more. They were like, okay, Zohaib, I'll tell you what my investors told me. and I love my investors. Okay, we have brainstorming sessions. Okay, so my investor told me this: Zohaib, Bashayer, Marsa Al Jorf, or should we go for the new master plan coming by EMA? Okay, I think the villas will be around 7.5. He also added Valley. I told him, man, you invested in Oasis. I don't think Valley is not for you. I think Valley is a great product, but it's not for you for certain reasons based on his objective. So, anyway, Chase, we are rounding down to this, right? ABC. I am going to discuss another product with him in Jumeirah Garden City. In fact, you know, where I might get a 4% DLD waiver, and that's a different thing. But this is our brainstorming, right? So I am going to go tomorrow, get a feel. I think two brilliant people who have really changed the game of Hudayariyat is Jake and Joe. Jake himself has bought in Hudayariyat. That's fantastic, and Joe's also sold some of the most expensive mansions in Hudayariyat. So I'm going to go get a lot of perspective, understand the buyer demographic. Are they investors? Are they end users? Who's buying it? What's the demographic? What's their angle? You know, I want to really feel it, and then, you know, I'll come up with my own feedback of it. Thoughts on Hudayariyat and Villa plots. So it's around 440 dirham per square foot. How much do you think? You know, the plots were sold out. They're quite cool. Now, I think plots should really be bought by end users. I know this was not the case when it came to Shobha Heartland. Is one of those few areas where people made a killing out of plots. I know somebody invested around 5 million dirhams. They built around 30% on the plot and just sold because they had such phenomenal designs. I think they invested around 5 million, made 10 million in a span of a few months. Similar in Pearl Jumeirah again, you know, people made killing. It's really your personal objective when it comes to that, you know. Again, brilliant question, okay. Plots were sold at 440 dirham per square foot compared with just buying a ready-made villa. I think there's a little more effort, you know, and then your niche reduces. I think buying and selling a house would be a bit easier, but then there's more profit potential. If you have that gambling bandwidth, then you can go for the plot. If not, stick to the villa. Oasis' previous branded launch was 2,200 dirham per square foot. New launch is non-branded and is launching at the same price per square foot. Why should they invest in a new launch which is non-branded? Said, Oasis is a brand in itself. The reason why, for example, okay, let's give Dubai Hills as an example. Okay, you have the address villas, and then you have the villas near the clubhouse, which is nicer. The ones near the clubhouse, which is non-branded, is way nicer than even the location is way nicer compared to the address villas, right? The reason why Emaar launched the see, Oasis, right? If you purely study the strategy of developers like Emaar, especially Emaar, let's stick to Emaar. Emaar is probably the most dynamic and brilliant developer. They make products exactly based on the requirement or the source market, the people who are coming, right? The actual end users, based on they do a constant profiling of end users, right? So based on the requirement, when they realize that there was a time where the requirement was products like Arabian Ranches 3, Eden, Nara, Orania in the valley. There was a requirement where that was the requirement. Now, do you see the shift in valley? The products that have come from 7.5 to 9 million, people were shocked. They were like, why is Valley selling it at this price? But that is the demand, right? So what was the demand of Oasis, or what was the requirement? Now, ultra HNIs, okay, let's say multi-millionaires, billionaires, they have a perspective that when all the houses look the same, it's a housing community, a low-cost housing community. So when an American or a European comes and they enter a community where all the houses look the same, they find it cheap. That is why now Palm Jumeirah, after most of the houses have been ripped apart and built, why do you think Palm Jumeirah is 18 designs, right? Palm Jumeirah, what designs do we know of, right? There was garden, home, entertainment, foyer, signature villa. There were like 3 or 4 designs. That's about it, right? In signature villa, there's a bit of differences. Garden, home, just like G+1, G+2. Not many variations. 18 variations. Oasis, every 300 or 400 villas, they want a different design to retain value. So it's like, now what is the signature statement? Hey, I live in the villa I live on the Palm. No one's going to ask you, hey, do you live in a garden home or a signature villa? People will be like, hey, I live in Emirates Hills. They're not going to ask you like, hey, do you live in a smaller plot or a bigger plot? Similarly, people would want to live, when Oasis comes, and I hope this particular shot, can you just take the shot separately and I'll come back to it 3 years later. Like, nowadays I'm doing this, I'm taking some of my shots back in 2022 where I'd given certain predictions. Say I beat AI, in one of my videos I spoke against an AI related app in 2022 and came real in 2025. So this is my thing. People will want to be a part of the Oasis, that's it. Oasis itself is a brand. Okay, so what do you think of modern townhouses by Dubai Properties? Pratik, these houses, right, you can't go wrong. Like, again, I had so much of abuse and flack of speaking about Damac Islands, and not that I want to speak about Damac, but then for me it's just about speaking about safe products that have some sort of resilience. And Modon is an example of that. That street, all your major schools are there, all major infrastructure for families are there, whether it's mall, restaurants, coffee shops, play centers, kindergarten, hospitals, clinics, baby care, everything it's right there, so with Modon ticket sizes, you can't go wrong with these kind of investments, they're quite safe. It's when you go one step higher, so that entire location, you have that Serena, next to Serena of Acres. Now Acres have sort of jumped because right next to Acres you've got Reportage, so Reportage of Serena, that's where you're risking. But at Modon level, you're safe. You've not gambled with Modon. You've been a very safe investment. I also wanted a branded launch like Palace, in the price more expensive. I'm telling you guys, Oasis is the brand. So what do you think of the community by Beyond in Maritime City? Does it still have the cushion to appreciate, keeping in mind the latest prices? I love Maritime City. I think it's beautiful. I'm not the biggest fan of Dubai Islands. I've got friends, at least 40 friends, who have picked up plots over there, developing. I think there are 100, 200 projects coming up over there. I have no sense of the supply. In fact, I do have sense of the supply. So today, in fact, I made a video with Andrea where we were talking about, hey, because we were fighting basically. It was a debate. And because I was completely against the idea, but she was like, okay, hey, listen, how about a 3-bed at around 3.4 million, around 2,000 per square foot, which is walking distance to the mall and walking distance to the beach, at a 50-50 payment plan. And then we're discussing all the numbers. Okay, leave that. Maritime City, it's beautiful, right? The whole of Maritime City, there are 24 buildings. By beyond alone, it's around 16 buildings. You've got a nice, beautiful commercial office, 31 above, beautiful building. I mean, I should have bought there. If I didn't get into some of these chunky investments, I would have actually gotten, I was first attracted by Lumina, but after seeing 31 and above, I completely loved that project. And just imagine a nice waterfront mall, it's a nice commercial office, there's a retail area like J1, Dior, Spa, 16 buildings, it's like a little central park in the middle of the ocean. I'm in love with Maritime City and beyond. I think it's a beautiful project. So yes, but again, I'm still sticking to trying to. I've kept my own cap. It's like stock trading, right? You keep caps. So I've kept my cap at around 3,000 per square foot. I'm not going beyond that in the entire area, whether it is maritime or. Even though, okay, then again, there are a few projects that you have to study. Dubai Reef, Naya Island by Shamal Holdings, the Louis Vuitton villas. Study Solaya, what's happening with Solaya. If you can keep track of all of this, there's not much of comparison. I think there is room to grow, but personally, I'm keeping a cap of 3,000. Please advise if now it is sensible to sell off the 2-bedroom type 4E townhouse in Springs, little longer for some time, or sell and put that money in an off plan to get better returns. And I love Springs, Why would you sell Springs? Just do a equity release. Don't sell Springs. These are gold, It's the best location. You really probably feel sad if you sell Springs. Don't sell Springs. Do an equity release and invest, I love Springs. So Springs was the place I wanted to buy in during COVID. Well, my son was much smaller then. He hadn't started school. So I knew once I finalized the school, I cannot move from that location. So I was looking at Springs during COVID, and the prices didn't budge, didn't move at all. I don't want to mention the location where the prices crashed, but don't sell Springs. It's beautiful. Refurbish it. I know somebody who makes around 3,000 dirhams every night on Airbnb in Springs. What she does a little different is that she has an in-house maid. So that's an additional service that she's provided, who keeps the house clean, does any and then she does little bits, like birthday gifts and Valentine's Day dinner. But best Airbnb you can do, think of some model like that. Springs, the Airbnb is unreal. Do an equity release, do an Airbnb, don't get rid of it. Once you have such golden assets, you should never get rid of it. What about the location of new launch inside Oasis? I'm concerned it might be less desirable as it seems most distance from downtown and the beach. But again, see, you must understand, okay, if you look at the master plan, right? First of all, this master plan is going to change, it's not going to stick the same. And again, see, only 45% is being developed, like 55% is just green areas. So you've got Palmyra, you've got the Address Palace, and this end is being developed right now with these new villas. The plot sizes are quite big, but it's like, tell me any Emaar community with a bad side. It's like but this is a bad example. Like Burj Khalifa has a good side and a bad side. There's an expensive side of Burj Khalifa and not a very expensive side of Burj Khalifa. That's not a good example, but any villa, Arabian Ranches, Dubai Hills, there's no good side and bad side. They all work. So I don't understand that aspect. I think it's like, see, for Dubai Creek Harbour, again, there is a good side, bad side. There are locations. With Oasis, like I said, you just can't go wrong. Furthermore, if Dubai's public transport were to advance to a level comparable to Tokyo or Seoul by 2040, wouldn't Jumeirah Office 2, which has a train and metro station be considered a more highly valued area? This is good question. Now, this is a brilliant question. This answer, please, I hope someone takes a reel of this answer. Jumeirah Golf Estates 2, if you speak to Russell themselves, they're going to say it's going to take 5 to 10 years. The only advantage, yes, there's a big plus that there's a Mandarin Oriental, but if you look at the master plan, the residences literally face the villas, and I don't understand how that system works. It reminds me of that Ketura Reserve where you're buying houses close to 50 million and then you have this apartment building facing those plots. And now this is the biggest difference between an MR and another developer, like, well, I'm not saying Muscle is any less. Muscle is a brilliant developer, but 5 million square foot land, 5 million square meters of land and 38,000 apartments slash houses slash villas. 10 million square foot of land, 3,100 houses. Always invest into scarcity. Simple principle. So, what do you think about townhouse floor plans in Emaar Grand Polo? I feel like the price really didn't justify the functionality. Chris, that was my perspective on Grand Polo, but the way it performed was different, right? That's why I didn't understand Grand Polo. I was so focused on Oasis that I didn't. But then, when I further studied, 25 clusters, only 1,200 houses, the biggest park in Dubai, bigger than Dubai Hills. So Dubai Hills is around 160,000 square feet. This is going to be 1.6 kilometers. This is only 2.5 kilometers. So when I saw all of that, I'm like, this can really, it's an exclusive community, and again, trusting the brand. Emaar has just never gone wrong when it comes to houses, not apartments. Apartments, I've got my own concerns. With Emaar, it's a whole separate discussion. Like today, they launched something in Business Bay. Again, this is a separate discussion. Lot to think. And process, but with houses, it's always performed, So it's and that entire belt is very interesting, right? Expo, Oasis, Grand Polo, Heights, it's a very interesting belt, and you've got this Al-Fai road that's expanding. So there's 2 bridges. One is around 750 meters, one 950 meters. One goes towards downtown, one goes towards Jebel Ali. I think it's investors can't go wrong with these products, Will the new launch in Oasis go to 3,500 square foot compared to Palace and Address? Sorry. There was this interesting. Can I go? I can't. Okay. Dubai Island versus cookie cutter townhouse. Karthik, actually today this was the fight between me and Andrea, where I was like, a 5-bed townhouse in Damac Islands versus a 3-bed apartment, walking distance to the beach, walking distance to the mall, better leverage opportunities. So which one would you go for? Will a family adjust to the flight noise? So this was where we were at. I didn't take a solid stand with either of the products. I just rested it at the client objective and preference. This is what I've rested it at. Will the new Oasis launch in Oasis go to 3,500 square foot compared to the Palace and Address? Kevin, I've told you, the brand is not Palace or Address. Have you heard of Palace? Palace is not as prominent as the Address, right? See, at the end of the day, everything is a marketing angle, right? 3-star is Rove, 4-star is Vida, 5-star is Address and Palace, rest is all standard. But if you visit an Address apartment and a Vida and a regular, it's not much of a difference, in an end user perspective. What gives us exclusivity is the supply. You know, it is the supply, it's the community, it's the infrastructure. Like I told you, in Dubai Hills, what would hold more value? A Hills Grove which is non-branded, or a address in Dubai Hills, right? It's a Hills Grove. So it's really on, like I said, floor plan plot size. Yes. What's important about the Oasis? It's that it's one of those rare communities where the entry ticket, right? Okay, right now, to enter Oasis itself, you had to pay around 10 million dirhams. By the time the product is handed over, I'm presuming that to just enter Oasis, you have to pay between 18 to 20 million dirhams as the entry ticket. The rentals will start with around 1 million dirhams. Can you imagine the crowd? And that crowd is not going to be like, oh, I want an address. You know, it's just going to be, I want to live in the Oasis, I want a nice floor plan. You know, they'll probably make a Versace or a Fendi or a Jacob and Co. or I don't know, Bad Bunny out of it. You know, this crowd is not obsessed with the address. They're probably obsessed with Four Seasons. You know? So it's a whole different crowd that we're talking about. We need to understand what the end user perspective of the community. Emirates Hills. You think if I tell them, hey, I want to sell you an address house, it phases them? It doesn't. Jumeirah Islands, look at how they've upgraded it. You know, it's a different geometry we're talking about. What do you think about Bay Villas in Dubai Islands, Yusuf? I think you know, Yusuf, with Dubai Islands, my angle is till let's say 2032 or 2033, the airport will shift and the market in Dubai Islands will climb. Okay, we have got this big supply from Dera and Dubai, but my angle is, should we invest there, or this is particular belt, right? This is Palm Jebel Ali, Aura, Jurf. Okay, so this is particular belt. So Palm Jebel is going to develop its own marina. So it's the other side of town. Now it's not me. Okay, I love Dera Dubai. Okay, I have nothing against Sharjah as well. I think Sharjah is developing as well. Okay, in fact, I'm studying Sharjah a lot nowadays. But it's about who's your target audience, right? When you think of beach, when you think of water, coastline, we want to sell it on a higher price per square foot. Like when people talk about numbers, right, or blue water islands selling at 5.5, who's buying it? Russians, Europeans, there are a few Indians, Americans, Asians, you know. Now, would they prefer that side, or would they prefer the south? When I say south, I mean from Palm Jebel Ali onwards. So this is how we should, because both are selling at around 2,000, 2,500 per square foot. So this is where we should understand which product to pitch. But what I do is, I'm a consultant. I give both the data. I give all the data to my investor. He takes a call. I'll give you my angle to it. There's Island E coming up, which is very interesting. So of course the beach is interesting, but that beach which is bordering Sharjah and Mamzar against Dera Dubai, are we able to sell that to a rich Russian guy? Okay, I'm just keep putting it out there, you know, or a Russian or a German. I think they'll go as far as maritime and RYM. I don't think they'll go that far. There's the entire Shindaga corridor being built. I agree, one of the biggest investments by the Dubai government. But as of now, the feedback I've received from them is that they don't prefer that area. They prefer Palm Jebel Ali. So what about Beyond's commercial office in Maritime City? Oh man, Beyond's commercial office in Maritime City, brilliant investment, Kevin. I love that office. I think it's fantastic. Investing in a 2-bedroom at 22nd floor corner unit 8 in Paris North Creek for 2.75. Oh, of course, 100%. Mehrdad Davani, 2.75 corner unit, Palace North Creek. You can't go wrong. Beautiful. It's a beautiful building. Nice price. Go for it. I think right now people are trading Apple to Apple, that unit will be selling, if EMA was to sell it now, it will be selling at 4 million. So, on handover, we'll make a decent profit and easy rental. It's a good, great investment. When is ARM holding long? Oh, fantastic question. Please, let's make a reel on this question. It's such a good question. Who's this guy? Oh shit, where'd it go? One sec, where'd that question go? Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. Yusuf, I'm coming back to your question, okay. Meher Davani, okay, is buying a studio in JVC from Bengati and rent it out is a good investment from $175,000? In a funny way, Mr. Davani, despite of everyone speaking against JVC, the locations with highest ROI is actually JVC, Silicon Oasis, International City, Azizi Riviera. So it really depends on what your Dubai South. It really depends on what your investment objective is, So that's what I tell people. Man, I'm just a consultant. I'm not here to tell you which is good, which is bad. You give me data. I'll process the data for you. I'll give you information as it is, and then you take that call, So you're right, at $170,000, you can't go wrong. You make a clean 8% in JVC, and if it's a Bengati project near the Circle Mall, it's a really nice product, Truth Mission might be an off topic, but are you and your team considering Oman as a future potential for investors to consider in future? Appreciate it, maybe not a still mature Oman. Truth Mission, I have a lot of investors who purchased in Oman. I don't know why it's not. I think Oman is beautiful. Okay, I think it's like a little Maldives, but I'm not. You know what I'm looking at next? It's Saudi Arabia. I'm going to talk about Saudi Arabia. And funny, today I had a very interesting meeting with somebody who's launching a lot of products over there. So I think my I may consider. You may never know. As of maybe somebody will change my mind, but as of now, it's Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Ras Al Khaimah, and my brains are extending to Saudi because the numbers seem quite interesting and the appeal, right? I think Saudi is definitely again Dubai 2016. That's what everyone wants to invest here, right? Everyone wants to invest Bitcoin 2016, Dubai real estate 2016. So I'm also looking at those opportunities. Is Davani, is Creek Harbor a good place to invest for long term? Mall coming, metro coming. Mr. Davani, Imar is number one. It's very hard to go wrong with Imar. Just make a few sensible calls, like you said. Palace, North Tower, it's on the water, corner unit, high floor. Can't go wrong. Just don't do something silly. For example, when that metro and that school district came, some of the projects over there, people sold it to investors saying that it's full Creek Tower view without studying the master plan. Right in front of it there are these really tall towers. So just don't make any silly calls, Even like, let's say, when the beach district was released, Creek Beach, the products that were behind, right, the buildings, the low-rise buildings that were behind, I knew it's same thing with RYM, the products that are behind. People are selling it to investors like, oh, this is resort lifestyle. It's just not going to be the same demand. But if you go into that investment understanding the end-to-end results, it's fine. But don't go with wrong perception. Rest, of course, yes. Dubai Creek Harbor, Palm Jebel Ali. These are all like in that 5 to 8 year horizon. It will definitely. It'll keep increasing. Its stock value will keep increasing. Okay, so okay, my favorite question. Okay, superb question. Yusuf Hussain. When is ARM Holding launching its product, and will it be apartments only or townhouse villas as well? Okay, are you talking about the one in Jebel Ali Racecourse, right? You're talking about the one in Jebel Ali Racecourse, BIG. Man, this product, it's apparently Q1 2026, and I've got my eyes, ears, nose, hands, everything on towards this project. You know, I'm really excited about this project. I'm just waiting. Let's put it. I'm just waiting for this product. Fairs. Many people talk about branded and non-branded Palm Hills, and thank you, Fairs. Thank you, Fairs. This is for everyone who is saying that, and Fairs is an expert in Dubai Hills, brilliant consultant. So many people talking about branded and non-branded. Palm Hills and Address Villas are trading at similar price per square foot to Golf Place in Dubai Hills. Similar product, all depends on the preferences from the end user. That's it. Bottom line. Please refer to that statement. Your opinion on Home One Jumeirah Garden City. Wander with me. I have this particular project in Jumeirah Garden City, which I'm going to talk about for a bit, where I have it selling at, but I want to sell it bulk. I'm going to sell it at 2,000 dirham per square foot, 40-60 payment plan, and I can potentially offer a 4% DLD waiver. It's not on the market, so I'm going to talk a bit aggressively on that. So that's going to be my number one project in Jumeirah Garden City. So I'm going to talk about that in my in the coming in this week. Tomorrow's Hudairiyat, so I think I'm pretty much stuck over there. But I'll be talking about this. Money. Yes, Money, please help me grow my business in the UK. You know, I'm so stuck in Dubai. I've made Joe a partner for the UK office. I really want to aggressively go nuts in the UK, but you know, growing a business is a lot harder than I imagined. You know, I want to open up. So I've got, again, phenomenal opportunity in Ahmedabad in India, Gift City, in Pakistan. One of the biggest groups are partnering. But you know, so UK, this Australia, I've got, again, you know, like a phenomenal partner. US, my business partner sold. So he was a venture capitalist. He gave seed capital to a company, sold it for $14 billion. I just need to figure out how. You know, I'm still growing as an individual, as an entrepreneur. I'm just growing. But Money, all the help in the UK. I'll be I'm definitely looking for help. Kaisar Nova, hey Zoe, fantastic channel, bro. Thanks. 2-bedroom off-plan your business bay for 2.5 million that you'd recommend for 2027. Also, ready units now seem to be more value than off-plan in downtown. 100%, Kaisar. Downtown business bay, I would definitely prefer the ready ones, because like Peninsula, for example, I think there's a lot of opportunity in products like Peninsula. Like off-plan, like people who invested in products like Bengati, Jacob & Co, Bengati Mercedes. Now in front of Jacob & Co, Tiger Sky has come. In front of Mercedes, Baccarat is there. So you know, I don't know how people do that. You know, why don't people think it through, or they don't take that effort, or I don't understand what happens. I don't understand, you know. But yeah, 100% downtown business bay. I think you would definitely have to think on ready. Do you think a 2+ study by Ellington in Meydan with Laguni for 3.8 is a good buy? No, I don't think it's a good buy. No. Why would you buy a 2+ study in Meydan for 3.8? No. It's a lot of money, man. 3.8 million. You can do so many options at 3.8 million. I can give you, like, I don't know, 1.4, 2.8. I can give you like 3 1-bedroom apartments for that price. Yeah, 3 1-bedroom apartments in Meydan, you know, on a 50-50 payment plan. 50% you get for leverage. and maybe I'll even give you some discounts on that. Get objective. I need to figure out your objective. Okay, your thoughts on Saudi opening up. I don't know what to think about Saudi. I just have some really strong connections over there. I'm still studying the market. I'm studying the market. I think it has potential. I think the biggest challenge is the demographic again. In Dubai, one of the biggest advantages are that the local population is 10% and the expat population is around 90%. And in Saudi, it's different, right? It's about 50% Saudis. Now, dealing with the Saudis is a whole different chapter comparing to dealing with Emiratis. When that's a discussion I don't want to have online. So there are a few challenges, but it's again, Saudi is a giant. So let's see. Let's study the project. Let's study the projects. Abdullah Azhar, what do you say about the project Bain? If this is the Abdullah Azhar, I am not gonna compliment you. Online, fantastic project, bro. I told you I've been talking about this particular belt. If I have to compare Dubai Islands and I'm calling this the diamond belt between Palm, Jebel Ali and Jurf. If I have to compare the both, I would prefer this location. I think it's way more high end. MK Rise, Chelsea Residences had a strong hype when it came out, but recently it's hearing things more on the negative. What is your opinion on this property by Damac? Chris, the thing is, in Dubai, it's you get what you pay for situation, right? Or maybe that's too harsh. The developer with the best after sales service that I've seen till date is only Emaar. Rest, no one has come up to that mark. Nobody. Rest, all the developers have such a strong sales team, but the after sales just sucks. So it's something we'll have to just deal with it as it comes, and that's why I've very explicitly come out and said, there are some developers, when I talk about a certain developer that I don't like or I've not worked with in the past, and if I'm talking about it, it's only because, okay, and I tell that very explicitly, hey, listen, don't expect quality, don't expect after sales service, don't expect customer service, but hey, we are buying it at this price per square foot, so our investment is safe. That's it, but I'm very explicit with my investors. I tell them, hey, listen, man, don't expect anything else. It is just, it is what it is. I hope, I can't be that explicit on social media. I don't want to go viral for the wrong reasons, Yes, Oasis 5-bed villa, single unit versus Creek Harbour, high-rise floor, bulk buy. Which is the better deal for investment? Oasis 5-bed villa, oh my god, no-brainer. The other day, I had this conversation with an investor, right? So people have that perspective, right? Hey, should I make 10 million purchase, or should I make 1 million purchases and hedge my risk and diversify my risk? That's something I feel like you cannot apply in Dubai, because in Dubai, the 1 million product developer user base demographic is just different. When you suddenly hit that ultra luxury sector, right? It's a beautiful place to be. It's just such a really, really nice place to be. Those investors, they exactly know what they want. They won't waste your time. And if you have the right product, life is quite easy for you, so it's a nice place to be. Yusuf, any brand new community launching soon, townhouses? Yusuf, there are a few new communities coming up. If you hit me on DM, I would be happy to educate you on them, because I'm not allowed to speak a lot of things online, on live, right? But yes, there are some new communities coming, very interesting opportunities. Faisal, when is the live session Oasis starting? Faisal, we spoke a lot about Oasis at the start, okay, and in between, so I've given all the information about Oasis in the live. After speaking a lot about Oasis, now I'm just answering questions of everybody, okay? Because the reason why I did a 2-hour live was this: I wanted to give information on Oasis and then have an interactive session. So I don't know if you came late, but we've really covered the Oasis. I've covered most of the aspects that I really wanted to cover. The rest was covered through questions. Thoughts on Expo City and Expo versus Emaar and Expo City. Is that the next big ticket in town? Okay, sir. I have a best friend, okay? So it's Nadia and Sebastian. They love this location. They sell it super aggressively. They help you a lot in resale as well. So she's Italian, husband's German. Europeans love this place, and all the aspects tick a lot of boxes, right? It's the most number of LEED certified buildings. It's sustainable. It's green. Infrastructure is great. A few negatives that I've seen is that there have been delays in handover. I didn't expect that, considering that the infrastructure. So the villas and townhouses were supposed to be delivered end of this year. It's been extended, and those Wadi villas did not have that apartment buildings again, right? Now it's great for the guys who are buying the apartments, but the guys who invest in the houses, a bit of a bummer for them. So these are some of the aspects where, and then I constantly have this feeling that Expo's on the flight path. I just, when I keep studying the flight path, I see that Expo's there, and I'm in a position where I'm not allowed that kind of risk, where I cannot handle at this stage of my career advising about a product, or even coming online and speaking about a product that could have a ripple effect like that. So, but in plain terms, if I compare Emaar's product in Expo versus Expo's product, Emaar has a better pricing. Emaar is a safe bet. There are a lot of commercial buildings coming up in Expo, so I think you've got your tenant base right there. All the exhibitions are all shifting towards Expo. So all in all, it looks like a very safe investment. The contractors are Al Nabuda. It's one of the biggest crown jewels or big pride of the government. So all of those tick boxes. But I have some reservations, and hence I have not spoken about it. Yusuf, at what price will Damac Islands Phase 2 Foba Town sell on handover, as it's already high price starting 2.75 million and single grove going over 2.95 million? See, Yusuf, so again, another one of my really close friends, they live in Mira, okay, and their son walks to school, the Dubai British school. So there's Mira, there's Sherrywoods, and behind Sherrywoods is Damac Islands 1, Damac Islands 2. Right now in Sherrywoods, the product value has already touched 3.5 million plus. Same case with Mira. Based on the location, I feel like it has potential to go towards Harrows from the UK is coming to this location as well on Hesse Street. There's a Horizon School coming up right next in Nashama. In Nashama, there's a metro station coming up. I think it's going to be a location. Do you know that just last month, 17,000 new visas have been issued? 17,000 new residents just last month. There is a demand for houses, and there is not enough supply. So I never spoke a lot about Damac Lagoons, because Damac Lagoons had like 9,000 houses, again cookie cutter houses. You're right, it was cookie cutter houses. In case of Damac Islands, I feel like, okay, they've reduced the density, they've worked a lot on the amenities, they've tried giving more amenities. Location is quite good. I think it has the potential to go towards the 3.54 million mark. Thanks for your honesty. Have you heard that Beyond has brought all of Dubai Islands Sea? I I should have a look at that. I should definitely have a look at that. That'll be phenomenal. I love Beyond as a developer. I think they're fantastic developers. Again, I'm not talking about after sales service, but as a developer, if you see who their contractors are, who their landscaping are, and their mindset in itself, it's really good. As a foreigner, I'd only visited Dubai twice, so I didn't know it well. But today I definitely understood how it differs from my home country. Thank you. I would purchase Oasis. Oh, thank you, JS. This reminds me of good old days. I remember the Palmyra launch. I ended a live, and so somebody kept asking me questions, right? And by the end of the live, they said, "Hey Zoe, we want to buy Oasis," and we got a unit in Palmyra in the first launch till date. So now they live in Tilal Al Gaf. They're waiting for the Oasis handover. Really good friends, so it reminds me of those good old days, So I like live sessions. Not sure if it's the right to ask here, but I have a one-bed distress deal in address Zabil. Yusuf, please do share me the details. I think I love address. I think address Zabil is, again, there are a few products that Shobha Reserve, the villas there, Rivana in the valley, address Zabil. These are some gems, that people haven't realized the value of. Please do send me address Zabil. I'll make a video about it saying buy now. I'm sure we'll get a buy for it. Oh, that's so sweet. Who's that realtor, bro? Yes, JS. Please buy it with Zuhaid. That's sweet. Okay, so is that it? Are we done with all the questions today? I took my time out. I really wanted this. I wanted this. This interaction, I feel like I should come every week, and have like a market update and talk about the market, talk about the week. It'll be a great way to start the week. I hope I managed to answer everyone's questions. So shall we end the live? We'll end the live. Thank you guys. I hope it was an educational session. I did answer as many questions as possible about Oasis. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for watching. Mohammed Zahid.